Hi everyone, in this video I just want to explain you how we are sending the data from the Fitbit app, so from the Fitbit itself to the database. So first the data are collected via the Fitbit. So you complete the survey and the survey is all the data are collected via the Fitbit. Then, so that is done in the app, in Cozie app, and then in index.js. And you have seen that in the previous video. Then the data are sent to the companion app. So under companion here, we have another function called index.js. And you can see here this function inside, send data to Influx, and we are sending data to Influx. The name of this function is in fact not 100% correct because we're not sending the data directly to Influx, but we're sending it to a middleman. This middleman parses the data, ensures that the sender has the right API key, and then sends the data actually to Influx. So how do we do that? Well, we specify URL, which is always listening for our incoming messages, and then we do a post request. So here we do a fetch post, and inside the post we are sending actually the data that we want to send. We are sending our data inside here. In addition, we have added an API key. So only people who have an API key can send the data to this URL here. You can have it open, so everyone, there is no need of having an API key, but it's always advised to have an API key because you can limit the amount of push of post requests that this API key can actually make in a day to ensure that no one is going to send too much data all at once. Okay, so let me just show you. So this is all the code that you don't have to change on the Fitbit. Of course, if you're going to change the URL, you need to change it here. So if you want to create your own Lambda function which send the data to your own database, you will have to change the URL here and you will have to change the API key here. Okay, but that's all for the Fitbit application and for the code about the Fitbit application. And let me just open here AWS. So here we are inside our AWS account, and then you can see that there is an API gateway node. So that post request that the Fitbit does sends the data here to this API gateway, which we have protected using API key. So you can add more than one API key. So you can add one API key for every Fitbit or for every user. It's up to you. And then the data gets in from the Fitbit, passed through the API gateway node, which checks if the API key matches. If it does match, the message gets sent through and comes inside this Lambda function. Okay. A Lambda function is nothing else than a serverless function in which you don't have to care about maintaining the server. You just write your Python code or whichever JavaScript code. You process the incoming data and you do whatever you want. You can add a destination, so you can save your data locally here on AWS in a database. Or as we are doing, we are actually sending the data to Influx. How do we do that? Well, we do that using a Python code. Okay, I'm not going to scroll down here because there is the password, but I'm going to show you here how we are processing the data using the Lambda function. So it's a super simple function written in Python. And here, as you can see, we are all importing the Influx package. And you will need to install it in the Lambda function. So please go and check out in their documentation. Basically, what you will need to do is you will need to install it locally on your computer. And then, not to install it. You will not have to install the Influx database client package. You will have to download it in a folder. So you will have to download it in a folder, zip it, and then inside, before zipping it, also create a function, a Python file called lambda_function.py, Inside this file, you copy and paste this code that I'm going to add to the documentation of Cozie. And it is very important that this function inside, so the file name is lambda underscore function.py, and the function inside is called lambda underscore handler. Okay? This lambda underscore handler, every time the lambda function is called, is going to get two inputs, event and context. We don't care about the context too much, but we care about the event, which contains our message. Okay? So first, we are connecting to the database. If you are using Influx, you will have to change hostname, port, username, password, and database. Okay? You don't have to use Influx. You can use any other cloud database, or you can use a database in the AWS service package suite or console, or you can use like MongoDB, whatever database you want to use. I mean, we're just using Influx. Then basically there is a function here which tries to get the data and basically extract the data from the event. As I was mentioning before, as you can see, we are only looking at the event. We are not doing anything with the context. So basically, we are getting the body, we are parsing for every key in the body, because basically is a dictionary, this one, and we are going to extract the value, and then we're sending the data to Influx. And there we are storing our data, and we can query them back, connecting directly to Influx. This is a good way to have a middleman. I mean, you could technically perhaps even send the data directly from the Cozie to the Influx database, but that's not advised, because it's always nice to have a middleman which makes sure that all the data are sent properly, and you're not going to expose your keys of the database in the Cozie code. But you can choose whichever database you want. So this is the Lambda function. I just wanted to mention that you don't have to use, if you are not familiar with Lambda function, they're nice because they are very cheap, and you don't have practically to pay anything to run them, but you could do the same thing with Node-RED. So I don't know if you are familiar with Node-RED, but basically here you could have an HTTP post input, so an HTTP node in which you define as a post, you convert the message to the right format, and then you send it to the database. Ignore these nodes here at the bottom, but you could do the same thing. You could also use Google functions, which are practically exactly the same thing as Lambda function. So is pay as you go. You will never have to pay for this, because you probably are not going to send so many requests anyway. So yeah, you could use also Google functions, and you could connect to their database. Yeah, any alternative is fine. I'm going to share the code in the Cozie app documentation. So like currently is not there yet, but if you go on cozie.app documentation, and that's probably where you find this video, sending data to the cloud, I'm going to update this section here. I'm going to add this description with the code that you can use for the Lambda function. I hope you find this video interesting, and just let us know and contact us if you have any problem.